Hey, how you doing? It's your girl Kadi, and I'm here today interviewing two amazing authors. I have Element OG, and I also have J.Alexander, and we're going to get right into it. So, Element OG, I'm starting with you. So, last year you released, I believe, your first ever book.
Yeah.
Called Through the Eyes of a Child.
To the life of a man.
To the life of a man.
Yeah.
Now, this book, I've read it. Tell us, what was the inspiration behind writing this book?
Right. The inspiration behind me writing my book was a lot of things, really. I had a lot of things inside me that I felt difficult to release. And also, I wanted to be something and go with my passion. My passion's always been writing. And I write music as well. I write poetry. And then, obviously, from that kind of form, I've literally just blossomed and become more creative, I guess, as I've been writing. So my inspiration behind it was just to basically try and deal and cope with a lot of the stuff that I'd been through that I'd never released.
Yeah.
Find a way of coping, and writing was my coping mechanism.
Okay, so obviously this is your life story.
Yeah.
It touches some very delicate issues. How did you feel in terms of putting and being vulnerable with some of these issues?
When I was writing it, it didn't really hit home until I'd actually published the book, and then I'd realised how many people were actually going to know more about me in depth. And there was a sense of vulnerability that I carried with me for a long time. But in some sense, it was what I wanted. Like, I wanted to help people that had been in the same vulnerability spots as me. So if I put my story out there and let people see, look, for the expense of others, you can't control what others do to you. All you can do is try and go on from that. Do you know what I mean? So in my book, it's like I jump over a lot of adversities, gone through a lot of stuff from my childhood. But if anybody else has gone through that, then at least they can relate to it and feel like, do you know what, he got out of it, so can I.
Yeah, and how did family, friends react to the release of this book?
Well, I'm from a quite well-known family anyway, so yeah. With a lot of people knowing a lot more about me now since I've had my book out and stuff like that, obviously they know who my family and stuff are, and it caused divides and it caused friction and tension and stuff, but the truth always does. And that's something that I had to live within myself and know that this is my truth and it's not a made-up nothing, you know, it's my truth. And in order for me to release that and feel good about who I am, I had to get it off my chest and get it out, and the only way I could do that was writing. Because a lot of people can't just sit and talk and get deep things off the chest. Some people might keep a diary. Some people might, you know, tell their mates quietly, have one friend that they tell. Some people got parents, some people haven't got parents. So it's all about, you know, finding a way of channeling that energy. You know, a lot of people meditate, some people go to the gym, some people will jog and find other hobbies and interests, but mine was releasing it.
But you could have written the book and not released it. It could have been just like a journal. What made you think, I'm going to put this out there? Was it more to help other people? Yeah. Was that the whole, if I tell my truth, I'm going to hopefully inspire?
There's so much men out there that suffer from literally, if you ask most men or you ask most people on a poll, what is the problem with most men's mental health? They'll tell you it's because they keep a lot in.
Yeah.
They don't let it out. So on the strength of what you just said, that was me trying to be like, let me try and make a stance and not be another statistic that just keeps everything in. Because we could not be here tomorrow and my story wouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
So I've just felt like I have to put my story out there because there's probably so many other people out there that's suffering, but they don't know how to tap into it, or it maybe they see someone like me and think, right, if OG can put that out, I'm doing mine because now he's out. Just like how I inspired by other artists and people that have done things and have allowed me to feel like I can express myself in that way. So, yeah.
Amazing. I'm coming back to you. I'm going to go over to J.Alexander. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So you've got your book out called Boo, The Little Bit Different Dinosaur.
Yeah.
What is your inspiration behind this book?
So I've got two children. One's grown up and I've got a 7-year-old little boy who was diagnosed with autism at 15 months old. I didn't know anything about autism. I'd done a couple of little courses in a previous job, but I didn't know any. It didn't affect me. Didn't know. Quite ignorant. Anyway, then later on he was diagnosed with ADHD, so he's a complete whirlwind. I was on holiday in Cornwall, and he just had the mother of all meltdowns. And so I took him out, put him in his pram, took him for a walk, and I was upset. He was upset, calming him down. And I was just watching some children just playing, regular kids, you know, neurotypical children just playing with dinosaurs and thinking, is he ever going to be able to do that, this, that and the other. And literally on that hour's walk, a whole idea of a book just came into my head, and I went back to the caravan, went in the bathroom, and I was just like writing little notes, and it just kind of literally escalated from there. So my mum, who's like my bestie, and my daughter, and I was telling them little bits, and they're like, write a book. And I was like, don't be silly, don't be silly. And they're like, write a book. So when I was writing that one, which was, OG, you know, incredibly hard, because you just doubt yourself, and you just think, oh, I'll just write it. Yeah. I'm never going to release it. I'm never going to. But I did. Yep. But then it went on, and it grew, and it grew. And so that's book one. There'll be book two, which I'm working on now. And it's more about, I see children, any children, I mean, I love children, they're just magical, but neurodiverse children, any children, I just find them quite magical. There's something, to me, quite spiritual about them.
Yeah.
And that's what the book's about. It's quite a spiritual book, which I think a lot of children probably wouldn't understand, but I think the parents would. That's why a lot of parents have enjoyed it. Probably more so than the children, to be honest. Yeah. But the second one, that goes a lot deeper about evolution and things like that. So yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just bring it back slightly. So 15 months, you said your child was diagnosed.
No, sorry, I got that wrong. It was 3. He was diagnosed, 3. But at 15 months, I could see him regress. Okay. Yeah, he just something. A lot of things. He was. Like a lot of words he lost, and then he stopped waving. He never pointed.
It's kind of hard as well, because they don't really diagnose them until they're 5.
Yeah, this is it. I was quite lucky at 3 actually, but I think it's because he was in a nursery, and I am an advocate for him massively. And it was like, no, there's something, and he didn't pass his 2-year check.
Okay.
So I did drive it forward massively. My sister, she works with special needs children as well. My other sister's a psychotherapist, and they could see too. They could see signs, but they didn't say it to me until I asked, and they were like, yeah. And he's amazing. Honestly, I wouldn't change bone on him. He's just amazing.
That's amazing. So I think this book is more learning as well. Yeah. Not just from a child perspective, but like you said, from a parental perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned so much. Like, I teach him things, but he's taught me way more than I could ever teach him. Yeah. Way more. And way more about myself, because I didn't realise I had resilience and patience like I've got.
Yeah. And what a point did you think, actually, I'm going to release this book?
Yeah, my mum. Okay. She's like, please put it out there, And I was like, oh, okay. So I did, and it done quite well. You know, it's kind of slowed down now, but I'm fine. But like, me and OG have spoken about this. It was never ever about, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to make one.
How many sales?
And it never is. It's just,
how many people you can actually make it make sense to.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, a lot of parents now, because that's kind of my social group really now. There's a lot of parents with neurodiverse children. You find yourself gravitating towards them, and
I think because there's not that much support for the parents.
There's not. It's getting better, but it's still way. It needs to come way up there.
But before the kids to get a chance to actually, someone to actually circulate it and put something on it. You've got adults now actually saying that they're suffering from ADHD and autism and stuff like that. I've heard quite a lot of adults in the last, say, couple of years identifying that now they have autism and ADHD.
And I think even the whole system of the waiting list even to get
ridiculous
a diagnosis is years. No, we're not talking weeks or months.
My daughter was on the list for nearly 2 years, and they contacted us to say that they're taken off the list because they just. So, I mean, she's got ADHD. It's undiagnosed, although they tried to diagnose her when she was little, but I was so young, I was like, no, I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't want to give her medication. My son's not on any medication, and he'll never, for me, until he says, I want medication, I'm not putting my medication. I'm not numbing that.
Yeah,
no,
because I
not
think
a
people
chance.
that are children, adults that are on the spectrum have usually got a special gift. They're usually very
Exactly.
creative, or
And
there's something
I
very
think taking
specific.
tablets
Yeah, and I think that's
slow it down. And
that's
I
what I
don't want
think.
to get
that.
somewhere,
He's been able to read since he was 2. Couldn't talk properly, but he could read anything. He's read that. It's a
Amazing.
bit of the word wrong, but he's read that, and it's like he's reading that.
So, what's your response been from other parents?
Oh, they've loved it. Oh,
Amazing.
yeah, especially parents again who are parents of neurodiverse, because a lot of people actually see like magic and spirituality in their own children, and they think they've got a special talent and things like this. And all children, in my eyes, have. And the thing I think with children with autism is because a lot of them are non-verbal, some are very verbal. It's like it's a huge spectrum, isn't it? I'm yet to see Jesse's talent. I know it's there. I'm looking for his niche. I know it's there, and it's becoming more apparent every single day. And a lot of parents find there's something quite spiritual about them. Like some people say, like, "Oh, I think they're telepathic." I don't know about that. I'm not saying that, but I think there's definitely some kind of evolution going on there. So I believe.
So you're touching that on your second book by the sound of that. Okay. Amazing. I'm going to go back to you, OG. In terms of what was your writing process with this book? Was it a particular time of day? Was it I'm just going to sit and write? Was it just coming to you?
It's funny you should say that, because someone once said to me, when you write, I'm at uni at the moment, so whenever I'm at home and I'm doing my homework or whatever, they say, look at the time. I always look at the time when your body tells you to start writing or to do your homework or do your lectures from home and stuff, and try and keep it to the same thing. So don't force yourself to write. Just wait until that moment hits you. And what I find was there wasn't a heading. I was just writing. And it turned itself into what it was in the end. Because
I get that.
I didn't actually have like a template. Obviously, I think it's a little bit easier when you're writing about your life, because you've got a few headings to go by, innit? So in my own self, I knew, but it was also the fact that I was like reliving a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
As I'm writing about it. So then you got to have breaks. You start to be affected by what you've just revealed. Then you start worrying about, oh my God, nobody else is going to know that that's happened to me or whatever. And I think you just got to, like, once you make your mind up to write about it, you just got to keep your mind in that focus, because there's so many adversities you face just writing. It's like writer's block. Then I'm a full-time dad, so then I've got to be a parent as well. Then I'm studying at uni. The kids do activities out of school. Not to mention the phone calls in between school.
Yeah.
Can you come and get him? He's fell over. Can you come and get him? He's hurt his leg. Can you come? The phone rings now. The school will phone my phone. And before I answer it, the answer is, don't worry.
Yeah, we were saying this, weren't we? Exactly the same.
I'm at my wit's end until I answer it, and I'm so nervous, and I'm like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Obviously, parents will understand what I mean. It's not. I'm really shaky. I'm a stress when it comes to. I'm like, prevention's better than cure, but when you like that, you really do think that you can prevent everything.
Yeah.
So the slightest things like, oh my God.
Yeah, as soon as that phone call comes up, said school, you're like, oh my gosh, what's happened? Everything, they do. I'm sure all parents know this. And that's why the teachers say, it's nothing to worry about. And they know that straight away.
Yeah, don't worry, it's fine.
For instance, if like, going back to like ADHD and, autism and stuff, like, I think every kid has got different spectrums of autism and ADHD, but say for instance with my son, it's like, if his teacher's off tomorrow, they'll have to let him know.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because these changes are all right for people that haven't got it. And I think sometimes, I don't think the schools are mindful enough of kids that actually suffer from ADHD and autism. Because you have to realise, if it's down to a sense of, look, if I moved his room around and put aftershaves and stuff there, he wouldn't moan at me, he'd just come in, just probably move it back. When I go in his room half an hour later, he's put it back to where it was originally. But I was just cleaning up. I thought I'd just clean it up. So they have their own. You have to be more mindful of them.
Oh, massive! And it smells as well. Certain smells have had to vanish from the house. Jesse's in a special school, so we're quite lucky that he actually. But yeah, mainstream school, wow.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
haven't got the
so-
support there.
It's hard because it's tough. I do believe it is tough for teachers as well.
Massively,
I'm not going
yeah.
to put like it on them, but you have to think like if you're a teacher and you don't have the experience or the education or
Yeah.
the knowledge to know how to deal with a kid who's got autism, all you know how to do is to teach him English and maths,
Exactly,
geography, whatever,
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah.
But some kids, not all, they need nurturing.
Yeah,
So it's like there's
absolutely.
different ways of teaching someone, isn't it? So you might be in a class with 30 kids, but only 10 of them can take in what you're saying.
Oh, 100%.
The other 20 are just
yeah.
as brainy,
Yeah.
but they can't dissect it as
No,
much.
they
They
learn
need to
differently,
learn
don't
in a
they?
different way, and this is
Completely.
where the problem is.
Yeah.
Like,
And there's just not enough
resources,
special
not enough.
schools,
There you go.
everything. There's just not enough.
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. Well, let's not digress from the book itself because we can have this is a whole nother conversation we can have about the school system. I just want to ask you, what would you say the main challenge was when writing this book? Because you said, you're obviously revealing things. What support did you get when writing this book?
I have to shout out my publishers, man. Grosvenor House, Yasmin. I think she gave me like a guidance. So every time I felt like I was going wrong, I had her there to kind of educate me and just put me back on path, or show me some ideas, and so I was really grateful for my publishers still.
Okay. But how about the emotional support?
The emotional support? There wasn't much of it, because literally, if I'd have told too many people that I was releasing this kind of book, they probably would have ended up speaking me out of it.
Okay.
So I kept my cards so much. Just like my new book that's coming out now. Like, no one knows it's coming out soon, but yeah, I can't have anybody trying to stand in the middle of it before. But when it's out, you can do all the noise.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's on the way, man. A couple of weeks, I've got a new book coming out. Sorry, I've got a new book coming out in a couple of weeks. I've got to tell everyone.
And I think that's really important for some of the listeners. I think everyone knows now, but I think that's really important for some of the listeners to know.
I weren't plugging this today. They've kind of put me in this situation. So yeah, I've got a new book coming out soon in a couple of weeks' time, and the book is literally about living with a child with ADHD. So literally, it's my methods and my ways and things that I've worked with that I'm going to give to other parents to see if they can try these methods and ways to deal with kids. Because when I found out he had ADHD and autism, like, I didn't know where to get the next guidance from. So and most of the things are scientific, or they just want to give you tablets. But so I wrote it on the strength of what I do and what works for me. And as you can see, he's a handsome kid and he's good.
He's absolutely amazing.
So this is
amazing.
it. So I'm looking at sorry to go on, but my book here that's out. Sorry. I've spoken to Jay a few times when I was putting my book out, and we've crossed ideas and stuff. And I think it's important when you're writing, to have somebody else.
Isn't it?
I was about to ask you that question. So, what support did you get? I know you said your mum was really inspirational.
My mum, my sisters.
In terms of putting it out there. What were the main challenges that you found though?
Mine was just self-doubt, massively. That was the biggest one. And then thinking, oh, it's silly. Don't be silly. You can't write a book. I can write it. Don't send it off. Don't ask someone to publish it.
Was you self-doubting?
Yeah, that was
you weren't going to finish it, or
I knew I'd finish it. I knew I'd finish the first one. I haven't finished the second one. That's not out yet. Not like OG. It's not coming nowhere yet. But it's being worked on. But yeah, it was just some days I'd just put it away and just think, don't be silly.
Okay. So for people that are out there considering writing, or if they've even written a book but haven't, once they've written it, what would you say is the next step? Do you have to find a publisher? Is it you have to then find someone to do some of the illustrations like on your book?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your process from when I've got this book, whether it's on a document or you've typed up, what was that next step?
Okay, so what I did, I contacted a couple of publishers. One of them read it over and said, after very careful consideration, we've chosen not to. I was like, that's fine. I expected a few more of those. But then I had one offer me the book, but it was literally, they take everything, literally royalties and everything. And I was like, okay. So I'll just put you on the back burner. And then I found my own publishers. Spiffing Publishing, honestly, James Willis and the gang and everything were absolutely amazing. They gave me the ideas.
Shout them out.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And the illustrations and everything, obviously it was all my say in the end. And we changed a couple of little words in there. which I totally agreed at the time. My child is not going to understand that word, so we just made it a bit more simpler.
They offered me.
Amazing.
Sorry, they offered me, like, in the sense of they were going to proofread my book, which was a cost. And the support they offered also was that they could, like, finish off chapters if I felt like I hadn't put enough in the chapter.
Oh, okay.
But that was something that I thought took away from me.
That's it's not authentic then, yeah.
My book has, like, a few spelling mistakes, but it's authentic.
I'm going to
And it's my
proofread it
first
next time.
book, so I
Spelling
will
snob.
always be able to look at it and be like, that was my first book, so it's not supposed to be perfect.
No.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be perfect on your 50th book.
Yeah.
And then you probably still won't be perfect. So I was all right with the mistakes. I didn't want it to be too perfect because it's rough cut.
And I think that's really powerful for, like, up and coming authors. You know, you don't have to be perfect to get your first book out there.
Exactly.
You don't have to know what publishers you're going to go to. You don't know what the next step is, but you just have to take that next step.
And you know, and that's like a massive, like, just both of us having a book out there.
I'm happy with that.
Oh,
So
yeah, me
I'm on Google, I'm on Amazon, and I'm right there.
That's a legacy right there.
Exactly.
I'm literally just happy to just be able to, when I'm out promoting it and people go, oh, how do we know you're not scamming us? I'm like, Google it, and then they see me like, oh my God, and you feel so accepted because now it's like a marketing moment. I'm like, I'm on Google. You can type the book in. It's on Amazon. This isn't a scam.
Exactly.
People more have belief in you, and it's just a nice feeling.
And wait till you see your book on eBay.
Oh,
3 times the price. It's like, how rude.
Wow.
Now going to this, right, with my book, I had to deal with my publishers, so it works out okay.
And you were the Norfolk House.
Amazon,
Oh, was it Norfolk House? You said
Grosvenor
House.
House.
And were they? Was that the first publishers that you sent the book to?
No, I'd spoken to 5 publishers, but Grosvenor House offered me I'll keep all my royalties, and I own the book.
Wow.
The only difference is that with Amazon and stuff, now it's just like what Jay said. You have all these other people that want to offer you all these services, but if your book, say for instance, if your book's £10, how much people can you bring in? Because if you're doing my pictures, then you're going to want a percentage. If you're doing the distribution, you're going to be wanting a percentage. So now you've got to look at the sensible aspect of, right, how do I minimise this but try to get the same effect? So what I did was, shout out Aaron, I met a guy on Facebook who was doing art and stuff, and I thought, you know what, like, I'm like that, I like to give an unknown person an opportunity. So I reached out to him and he did my book cover. This wasn't done by the public. The publishers wanted to do it.
Yeah, and
they had all these ideas, they sent me templates, everything looked like amazing. I was just like, nah, do you know what? If this book ever did well, which it is doing really well. I never thought it was going to do as much. 200 odd books in 1 month was enough for me, and that was April, and it's still continuously got a nice flow. But if it ever blew up, I always knew that I could drag somebody else through without realising. And that's what will happen. In the end, if it's that powerful, they're going to want to know where you got the comfort on.
Exactly.
And I feel that's part of you anyway, in terms of your character. You like to help people regardless. Your natural,
that's my
your
nature.
Your nature is to help other people. Yes, it is. Your nature is to help people always. So I appreciate that you even told that, because I didn't know who did the cover.
Big up Aaron, man. He's just a simple guy from my manor. From my ends as well, that just does his thing. He's just got a passion for doing like printing and photos and stuff. And I took a chance with him. He pulled it off, man.
Amazing. So how have other authors accepted you? I know you said, you've got the community that have supported you. How have other authors, have they contacted you? Have they given you inspiration?
Instagram loads, yeah. I follow quite a few. I've got absolutely loads of authors following me. I'm not saying the mostly independent authors like myself and OG as well.
I think TikTok is quite big for. I've got a lot of authors on my TikTok page, and you do find that with that, like for instance, I was reading chapters of my book the other day, and I've literally on TikTok the other day. I think I must have done about 30, 40 books, and that's just interacting with people, and they will then review your book for you. So then I will review their book for them.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you've got a nice little book family, and you're now marketing amongst yourselves, and that's what it's about. Like if you can't do it all on your own, man. Like as much as even if you're the best poetry writer or the writer in the world, you always need someone, or you need to help someone, or you're gonna need someone to help you in it. So I always believe, like, look, just do it as I wrote my book as truthful as I could. once it's out there, the only thing I've got to do is put it into everybody's vicinity.
Yeah.
That's it. You make the judgment when you read it, but I have to let you know it's out there.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so when you both, this is a question for both of you. So you've written the book, it's out there. What's been the biggest surprise for you after releasing the book? Is there anything that you think, wow, I didn't know this, or wow, I wasn't expecting that?
Two things for me. One, I've spent quite a lot on marketing. I didn't realise how much.
Okay.
You know, other people won't do stuff for you for nothing.
No.
So even like close people, you don't catch no one running around trying to market my book. I'll do it. I'll market my own stuff, and that was a big eye opener for me. You literally got to get out there and put it out.
Push it yourself.
And the other thing for me was how many people actually messaged me from buying my book and told me how much it had actually helped them.
Wow.
They've been a lot of people have sent me messages that they've not revealed to anybody else and said, look, I've gone through this and this is what happened to me, and it's almost the same as what you've wrote in your book, and I don't know how to release it, and everything's touched my heart, man. Even now, like just thinking about it, man, like it hurts, man, to know that a lot of people, some people suffer in silence, and that's a big problem, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be one of them people. I didn't want to sit and have it all, because I felt it affected me as I was going through the years. And then as you get older and you leave it, people just go, oh, it's years ago, it's not. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't.
Yeah, but what those experiences then moulded the man you are today.
Yeah,
so even if it was years ago, it's shaped you.
Yeah, it's moulded, shaped me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I'm actually reading a book at the moment about how trauma, how past experiences are held within the body. So it's one of those things that no matter how many years ago, it's always held there until you release it.
How about we manifest?
No, 100%. If you don't do it, eventually in one form or another. How about you? What was your biggest surprise, whether good or bad, after releasing the book?
I got quite a lot of respect from people. That was nice. And then a lot of people messaging me, asking me, would I read their manuscript and things.
Wow.
So I read a couple of manuscripts, a very surprising one as well from a teacher. You know who you are.
It's our old
teacher.
It's our old teacher.
The one that gave you, what did they give you?
John Price.
I looked it up the other day. I posted it. I seen it and I thought, as if this is our PE teacher.
I was actually having a beer with him last night and he signed his book for me.
I really can't wait to
much respect for him. He put a little acknowledgement to me in his book for me as well, because I read it, I proofread it for him and everything, and he was a great bloke. So that surprised me, a teacher asking me to mark his work. That was possibly the biggest surprise, John. So that was, other than that, it was how much I've learned even more about autism now through a lot of, like I said, followers I've got and people I've followed as well, about their stories. Gives me more ideas as well for future ones as well. So
that's awesome. We'll talk about your up and coming books in a moment, but what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself when on this journey of being an author, not just an author, published, recognised author?
I'm a little bit more creative than I ever gave myself credit for. According to my mum and family members, they've said I've always been quite creative, but to me I wasn't. But actually, I've got quite a vivid imagination, and it's all still there. And it's all going to come back out. So I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I never will be. That a lot of people won't agree with, even though it's a children's book. When the next one comes out, you'll probably understand where I'm going with that. A lot of people might think I'm a little bit woohoo. I am, massively. But it's what I believe, and I think there's a lot more to these children and adults than meets the eye. So my little idea in that.
Nice. How about yourself? What surprised you about yourself?
Positivity, that I could create something from nothing.
Yeah.
Like literally, my book never existed last year.
No. Same.
Just from like a pen. Power of the pen and the tongue, so to say. And look, so to create something from nothing, like literally nothing, is what I realised, that if I've got the ability to do that from my book, then I could do it for anything. Really. I could take that and use the same method. If I was going to do clothing or a restaurant, I just use the same music, the same kind of method, and that's what it made me believe in the end. That that if I could create something from literally nothing and turn it into this, then the world's your oyster in the end, isn't it?
World's your lobster.
So what would you say to anyone else that's either considering writing a book, or even someone that's gone through what you've been through, in your book, what would you say to that individual? I know
would
there's
say
two
so-
questions in
I
one.
would say to them, go ahead and do it, man. There's so many people that have inboxed me, just like I can't show it, that have asked me, how do I start my book? I've seen your book, it's brilliant from start to finish. How do I get started? How do I end it? How do I mean? And you know, the more people ask me advice, the more I feel like I want to be that person that actually there to help others, but I just don't know enough myself. So I don't know if I'm the person that will be able to give somebody all the answers, because I'm still learning, I'm still new in the book game, and I'm just trying to find my feet. But I'm willing to give people answers and help, like what helped me. So yeah, I just think it's
Everybody's a teacher, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everybody's a teacher and everybody's a student, basically. So you meet somebody and you're asking them questions. You come away after time, you don't even realise what you've actually learned from them. Yeah, and that, I think that's huge for a lot of people to realise as well.
Yeah. And in terms of just, and I know we're coming to a close now, but in terms of if you've got a parent with a child on the spectrum, with ASD, autism, what would you say to them in terms of, obviously your new book that we're about to discuss, but what would you say to parents that are thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do?
Okay, firstly, just talk to friends and family. If you've got friends and family, talk to a professional. And I know how hard that is, because it's very hard these days to get the help. Go online. There's the support groups. Honestly, I go on Facebook, there's different groups on there. That's where I got a lot of my advice from, a lot of my help, who to turn to.
It's important that you don't stay isolated, isn't it? You don't start
100%. Join these groups, because the things that they teach you about your child through their child is priceless, and it really, really, and always speak to your doctor as well, because you can go to this person, but unless that you've been seen to speak to your GP first, they're not interested. And even if your GP don't help you, the fact that you actually turned up there and the fact that you actually said, this is what I think is wrong with my child, or I need some help with this, it goes on record. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, just going to your GP. But go on them support groups all day long.
Did you think that was the same for you?
Yeah, well, I just think it's important that first you understand your child, isn't it? And then once you understand like what it is, the boundaries that your child has and what situation they find themselves in because of ADHD and autism, I think then you can start to, compare it to what you see around other kids and stuff, and then that's when you start learning, isn't it? I mean, I went to dad groups and like mixed groups, and I learned so much out of them just watching how other people do. Even off my friends now, I watch how my friends deal with their kids sometimes. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you do, innit? And like, and if you don't, you're just a bit too naive, because no one's got the book of parenting, man. We all just go with what we think's best, innit? Especially if you've got a child that's on the spectrum. In the eyes of like parenting, it's an extra stress, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and there's no book for that either. So the only thing you can do is like congregate with parents that are literally like in the same situation as you, learn as much as you can, and educate yourself. Because when you're not educated, you fear what you don't understand. Then so,
you mentioned one interesting thing about dad groups. Even when you were writing your book, or do you feel like there are more men groups or dad groups when it comes to mental health trauma that needs to be introduced?
I travelled far for the management that I went to. It wasn't actually in Birmingham, which was a shock. So when I was going to these dads groups, it was me finding them and going and inviting myself. It wasn't like they invited me there. But once I got there, I learned things like, basically, they would say like, look, if you're struggling to see your daughter's hair, use a vacuum. And it'll help with the ponytail. It's a man thing, isn't it? That's what men learn from the men's groups. And we'd pick up so much little tips, and it was all right. And we'd meet up once a month and, go for hot chocolate and see how everyone's getting on. And what I found from this was, I would go to these groups feeling sorry for myself. Yeah. And then I get there and I'm meeting someone that's on his own with 3 kids. Yeah. Something really bad's happened, and now I'm not feeling so like my story's all about me. So I realised the more you put yourself around people, everybody has a story, 100%. And everybody, has their way of dealing with things, and you just never know sometimes. So it's always good to listen and hear. And talk. Some people hear, they don't listen.
And take that next step to go network. So where can people find your book?
Okay, so it's on Amazon, Waterstones, few other places. I can't think.
My publisher's
Barnes
told me
and Noble. It's on a few eBay. It's on eBay.
It's on about 15,000 websites, mine is. So I don't know.
Okay.
You could just type
So
it
just
in, find
Google
it.
the title,
Yeah.
put it in there, and it will come up. And
Yes,
you buy it,
100%.
support, and share as well. Because you can buy it, but we want the shares as well.
Yeah, and I just want to thank everybody that you know what's mad, like, I don't know, I just want to thank everybody that's actually gone on Amazon, clicked the basket, put my book in there, and paid for it. And it's weird, isn't it? Because you know when you go on Amazon and you buy stuff, it's like, look, I want that, put it there, do that. Someone actually did that for me.
I know, yeah.
200 odd
It's
times.
really
I was
strange,
just
isn't
like,
it?
God, Lord, like what? You know what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
like, I can't. That would like look. I can't thank people enough, man. That's all I would say. And it like I don't even care. They could have clicked on there. It was 1 pence.
Yeah.
The fact that you took that 5 minutes to type my name in, look for my book and buy it. I've got love for every single person, man. That's the truth.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's about.
And now they can look forward to both of you publishing your second book. So just give us a quick.
Interesting.
Have you got a title for that yet, or is it ongoing? Is it in the?
I've got it's not confirmed yet.
I haven't. I can't release it.
Okay, can't release
not
it.
yet.
Okay, but when can they expect it to be released? In 2025?
Yeah.
So in 2025, both of you will have another book out for people to
100%
look at, Google,
Amazing.
Amazon.
My book's imminently on the way.
Yours is literally. We'll be back here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, God, literally, my book's on soon. It'll be out. You'll all know when it's out soon. But I've been working really hard behind the scenes. It's a lot of stress. So, you know, no, I don't realise. Because it's a lot of research. It's a lot of, you know, putting together. And sometimes you finish the book and then you're not happy with the cover, or you're not happy with the title, or someone else might have said to you, oh, I don't know that title. Now it starts to put doubt into your head. And there's all these things. You have to kind of
change it like 50 to 100 times.
Okay,
like from the beginning, you just change and change and change, and then you change back, and then you just Is
there a point that says, you know what, whether it's good or not, or how I'm just going to put it out there?
Yeah,
you get to that point where you're just like, I'm just doing it. This is it.
Doing it anyway. Yeah.
It's cool, so important. Hello. Yeah.
It's his publisher.
All right, look, I had to answer the phone. Look, I'm on a live interview, so this is going to be there now. But yeah, literally, just when you get their phone, it's all right. Phone in 5 minutes. Yeah, man. All right, then. See ya. Right. That's my Seabass guy, man. He's just dropping the Seabass. I gotta answer him though because I need that. And like, if I don't answer him, I'm sorry, man. But
so health is wealth by the sounds of it.
All right. Yeah, but I'm so excited about my new book coming out because no one actually knows. No one knew. And the thing is, it's like that's the element of surprise. Always makes people want to go, "Whoa, what's this? Let me go and get it." If I say too much, or promote too much of it. Which is why this book done so well, because no one knew I was even writing a book, let alone letting it out about my life and all the deep stuff. So once everybody's saying, "Woo," But now, even in years' time, there's one thing I want to say. This will always, it'd be like that first love. Yeah. That even when years later, you close your eyes and someone says, "You remember your first love?" You're like, "Yeah, I still remember." You get me? This is it. So my book, this book will always be my first love. Whether I write 10 books after that. And I'm an emotional person, man. I get properly emotional about personal things, and like to me, I'm so glad so many people have reciprocated my book in the way I put it out because it took a lot for me to reveal all the stuff. So to get the messages back from people that have been through so much, it's like it touches me, man. Because I didn't even think I had the ability to affect or even get even into people's head with my book or mind, or people suffered in that the same way. So yeah, it was good to know that there's people out there that took a lot from just little mini me, little all 5'10" and 11 of me, just simple. Yeah, so yeah, it's good.
Well, that is amazing. I want to thank you both for coming here and
MBC. You know what I mean?
Stop it. This is about you right now. This is about you right now. Stop it. So make sure you go out and get the book. We have Boo, The Little Bit Different Dinosaur by J.Alexander. And we have Through the Eyes of the Child, The Life of a Man by Element OG. And we'll catch you in a few months' time with the release of the next book.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you guys.
So amazing. Yeah, big up BBZ. Thank you, BBZ. Always love for the interview. You know what I mean? And this will be out on BBZ officially, exclusively. you know, and check in onto some of the other stuff that they do, man. They have a lot of good stuff on there, you know what I mean? Man, check out people's stories and, yeah, man, get some inspiration from that as well. So one love to BBZ, and we're always grateful for the lovely MBCC winner, Kadi Wilson.
So
and
funny.
J.Alexander, the next up-and-coming artist. And it's important that people know that we're from Birmingham. We're from the UK, where orphan is not really shunned upon in a big way, but we're going to change that narrative this year and hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Brilliant. Making history, creating memories.
God
Excellent.
bless. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless, man.